4 tips for using lighting and posing to highlight your youth sports athletes. We can do this. My name's Jay Boatwright. I'm with Smax Photography. I'm out of Canton, Georgia. I have a youth sports photography company that's all we shoot is youth sports. It's a lot of fun. So I think I can give you 4 pretty good tips. I call it short and low. We use short side lighting, okay? Kind of like we have here. I have light coming from the short side of the face from the camera. This being long side, this the short side. So we light the short side. I find it's just more pleasing. Or shooting athletes, we want them to look larger in life. And most of our athletes are 15 and under. So sitting on the ground, and oftentimes we put our camera on the ground, that low angle looking up usually looks more dramatic. So we shoot short and low. Second thing I think is really important is creating shade, all right? We shoot a lot of kids. Sometimes our shoots are probably average 3-hour shoots. Some of our shoots are as long as 7 hours. So you can't find a spot where the sun is going to be in the perfect place, especially if you have a lot of distracting backgrounds and you have to shoot in a direction where the athlete is going to be looking into the sun at some point. So you have to use scrims, all right? We have big scrims. We have Kupo and Matthew stands. There's triple riser stands with really wide base. We have wheels on them so we can roll them around during the shoot. A lot of sandbags, boom arms, and we use a 4x4 scrim, okay? Bigger scrim is fine if you can make it work. The only thing that's difficult is you have a lot of wind. You have to make sure that you're very careful. You don't want those stands falling on your subjects, of course, but we have to be able to create shade when we need to. If we're in a spot where I'm only shooting for 3 hours and it's 5 o'clock and the shoot's from 5 to 8, I know I can face them where they're going to be facing east and I'm shooting to the west, then that's fine. But again, if there's oftentimes we're not put in the best situations in our industry. So if we have to shoot in an area where the athlete has to look into the sun, you have to be able to create shade. The other thing is just remembering to be a photographer. This isn't, portrait sessions where you're taking a lot of time, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour with one subject. We have less than a minute per subject. And that's what we count for when we're doing our schedules. So we have, 1,000 kids, it's going to be 1,000 minutes. We have to figure out how many photographers we need and so on, okay? So we have to work with the men that are less. They're actually in front of the camera, posed, ready to go for about 17 seconds, all right? We want to get 5 to 6 sellable images in that amount of time. You have to, sometimes you can get stuck just doing the same thing over and over and over again and not really looking at the subject and making sure you're doing, photographically, you're doing what you can to make that subject look great. For example, if you get up there and the kid is laughing and smiling, so we start with smiles, well, you need to get to a game face, all right? So you have to do smiles then game face, but you have to determine which one looks better. So if the smile looks better, we might do 4 smiles, 1 game face. But if their smile is not very good, you might do 1 smile, 4 game faces, okay? And you have to make that decision. If you have an athlete that maybe they're carrying a little extra weight and that low angle doesn't look good, you have to get up on a knee or stand up and shoot more eye level to make it look more pleasing. So you have to remember, you're still a photographer. You have to decide what's gonna look best. Smile, game face, the angle, the tilt of the head, how they're positioning the ball. You have to make sure you make those adjustments quickly and you do what's best for the subject. We're outdoors and you have to make sure you can overpower the sun. We create the shade, then we have really powerful, our main lights are typically 1200 watt lights, and those lights allow us to shoot at 2.8, 4.0 and still have a dark background, okay? So you have to have a little bit of space between your main light and your subject. So our 400 watt light, trying to shoot at 2.8 just doesn't work. So we make sure that we have very powerful lights, create the shade, that way we can darken our background. All right, guys, those are 4 of our tips that we use to get amazing photographs that sell. We do 4 or 5 sellable images for 1,000 kids. That's a lot of images. We use Imagen to make sure that we're not in the office the entire next week editing photos. It's made our life a whole lot easier. All right, guys, hope this helps. Talk to you soon.